During Lent? And
I do. I was going to say, no, and it's funny because my normal disciplines involve praying the daily office and then concluding my day with an Ignatian examen, which is basically looking back on my day and where have I seen God?
Yes.
Where am I going?
Yeah.
Where was I drawn closer to God? Where was I farther away from God?
Yeah.
So yes, you asked me what was mine. I will be adding in a more faithful reading of the 5 marks of love. I also am a practitioner of centering prayer, where I'm basically open my heart completely to God for 20 minutes a day. Wow,
yeah, right.
Yeah. And I'll also be participating in a program that will be over at the First Congregationalist Church, but it is run by the Sophia Center, Christ Church, and the Newman Center, where we are going to explore pathways into mindfulness and try to bring people into looking at ways of meditation and chant and some yogic practices. So part of my discipline is to sort of show up and be seen there and to explore something new.
The interdisciplines of all of this coming together is fascinating too. And it also occurs to me that one spiritual discipline for some folks might be to explore what other Christian traditions are doing. You could go to one church on Wednesday night and choose another church on their Friday service, or just move around from place to place. And especially if you're not already planted in a particular congregation, go and explore and see what fits.
Absolutely. And I am certainly going to let my congregation know about your labyrinth. We hope to do that. We can't leave it up for that whole period of time, but I think that's a wonderful thing. We have 5 Episcopal churches in this area. We are trying to share with one another soon so that our congregations know, move around. But I think it's even more wonderful and important. Go to a tradition that's maybe not yours, or explore something new.
Yeah. You mentioned the daily offices. The office is not a word familiar to your American Baptist background or my earlier Presbyterian background. But I served a church in Richmond, Virginia, and we tried daily prayer one morning. Wonderful. At 7:30, we said this will be a 15 to 20 minute thing you can do on your way to work. So come to the church, and instead of being in the sanctuary, we met in the choir loft, because it was a small, intimate space. And I think we had, I guess, depending on the weather, between 8 and 15 or 16 people there day after day. And when we started it, and we followed the daily prayer discipline from the Book of Common Prayer, or the Book of Common Worship in our church. And we started it, and it was wonderful. But I also have to confess that when we got to about the 30th day, I was thinking, my gosh, I'll be glad when this Lenten thing's over, get my life back. But still, that idea of gathering together for morning prayer or for evening prayer daily during that Lenten period was helpful.
And it is pretty amazing to gather together in prayer. We do that weekly every Wednesday, and then we have this amazing Bible study group that's also a prayer group, and I think only on Thursday morning. You don't meet every day. Right. And I think that I was thinking of your experience of that with gathering every day, and how wonderful and incredible and beautiful it is. And maybe you step back from that yes, Lent is a special time where you really are giving more.
Yes.
And you do return into other areas, and as you say, some of your life you get back, but perhaps then you then say, okay, this was so important to us, we'll get together once a week or once a month. And so that some of these things, as you were saying earlier as well, become part of your regular disciplines, or you look forward to them
the next Lent. Sure, yep. And I think that was, I think people did look forward to getting back to that choir loft. I think we switched it over to an evening prayer one year, thinking that so many of our church activities started at 7. Maybe we could start evening prayer at 6:30, and then people could stop by there and then go to their meetings. And that was like 2 different target audiences, So these are wonderful things to give churches a chance to say, we do our social action, we do our meetings, we do our polity or our church government stuff, but every once in a while to find the heart, the spiritual center of what we're about. Again, moving back to the idea of preparing ourselves for the Easter celebration, the festival. What does it mean to be a disciple of Jesus in the world in which we live?
Exactly.
And to break some of the old habits and take on some new ones.
Exactly, because it will help us see more with the eyes of the soul, or with the eyes of Jesus, so that we're more aware. If we give something up out of our routine, maybe you start seeing someone who's homeless walking by, or someone who's struggling with this, or just someone you know closely. You see that person in a new way.
Yes.
And you take off some of the armor, I always call it, of your heart, so that that love of God flows in.
Yeah.
And that is a part of why we're doing these disciplines. And as you say, some of that can carry forward with us for the rest of our lives.
One would hope, yes.
One hopes, or if not, it's a little place of memory if you come back to it.
A transformative experience. I was interested when we talked prior to the studio here, that you mentioned the family business, because you come from several traditions.
Exactly.
Methodist and American Baptist, and you have a congregational background, and now here you are an Episcopal priest.
Yes.
As all this draws together in your own ministry, tell me about the future that you see as a spiritual leader. You've been in Binghamton now for a year and a half.
That's right.
So in about a minute and a half, can you tell us where you want to be in the next few years spiritually and as a spiritual leader?
I feel very drawn to being out into the broader community. So I walk around downtown Binghamton a lot. I make wonderful connections within all of these other religious traditions, including beyond Christianity. So where I see me is really letting people know what is this essence of Christianity through the Christ, which really is an incredible deep love of God that is drawing all peoples together. And then to, as a leader, give people the tools and practices, some of which begin in Lent, to really gain the courage to open their hearts, to take away the fear, to take away whatever armor they put up or against other people because they're afraid of not being worthy. If they can know that deep love and worthiness they have from God, and then that love drive out all fear of the other, or fear of what might happen in our futures, so that they can just live and serve and tend and care for one another.
We live in fearful times, and certainly as we watch the headlines and turn on the television and see the news, a lot of it's built on fear.
It is.
And so that's perhaps the most important thing that the church can offer these days, is love as that antidote and that verb that helps us.
I think so, and that verb, that fullness of life that can drive that away. Thank you.
Our guest on Encounter has been Mother Elizabeth Ewing, the rector of Christ Episcopal Church in downtown Binghamton. And we've been talking about Lent, and it's so good to get to know you.
It's wonderful to get to know you too.
Thank you for being with us on this program, produced in cooperation with the Broome County Council of Churches, of course, and WBNG Television. And our thanks to WNBF Radio for airing it on the audio track. I'm Jeff Kellam, thanking you for being with us and hoping that you'll join us again next week for Encounter. And in the meantime, I hope that you'll be gentle with people and with yourself.